Hello and welcome to WWJPS. This is your host, Vanessa Pinto. Well, folks, I'm showing my face because we have quite a story today. So for those of you who have been here before, welcome back. And for those of you who are new, I am Vanessa Pinto. I am the daughter of Jairo Pinto. WWJPS is what would Jairo Pinto say? My dearly departed daddy. I'm the daughter of an immigrant. I am in law school and I am trying to make sense of what is happening in our world, systematically with our country, with everything, right? So one, thank you all for subscribing. I'm gonna ask you now because I never do. Please, please, please hit subscribe. It is free and we have a lot of things to talk about, folks. But today, we're gonna go really down the Jeffrey Epstein rabbit hole. So I sort of stumbled upon some emails that I didn't know existed, which took me down another road. So we're gonna do a deep one into one of the strangest intersections of technology, elite power, cryptocurrency, surveillance, and Jeffrey Epstein's network that I've personally come across so far. Now, we're going to look at leaked communications connected to MIT Media Lab, Joy Ito, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Bitcoin discussions, billionaire influence, AI, and even eerie conversations about smart devices and surveillance technology years before the public fully understood where all of this might be heading. We're going to start with Joy Ito.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joey Ito, director of the MIT Media Lab. Welcome to the Media Lab. I'm going to start by quoting Kate Crawford, who quoted Pedro Domingos, who said, "People worry that computers will get too smart and take over the world, but the real problem is that they're too stupid and they've already taken over the world." And I think this really sort of reflects the sentiment.
What a way to start. What a charming guy. Now, what Mr. Ito is neglecting to mention at this particular thing is that he is a dirty little rascal who wanted money and he had no problem where it came from. So, what caught my actual attention? Now, what really caught my attention, it wasn't just that Jeffrey Epstein is donating to MIT, Harvard, all of these institutions, right? But the language inside these emails, which we're going to get to in just a moment, in one exchange connected to MIT Media Lab and Bitcoin and funding discussions, the phrase, "the pedophiles' money helped us win this round," right? I mean, that's what Joy Ito said to Epstein. He said that to him. So one, he knew who he was and he had absolutely no issue taking money from a pedophile, right? Now, this is disturbing, but these are some of the most powerful people in technology, cryptocurrency, and elite academic circles, right? They're openly discussing Epstein-linked funding like it was just another business transaction. And this is where the story starts getting really dark, really, really dark. The same Media Lab environment was also networking with global elites, billionaires, and even figures like Mohammed bin Salman during these future technology events. Super secret meeting and then email. All right, and I will put the exact Epstein numbers because I got these from Department of DOJ. So these are text messages between Mr. Ito and Mr. Epstein. We'll start at the beginning. This was on May 19th, 2018. So Joy Ito, you probably know, but Bannon did an interview with the New York Times about our meeting at Harvard. I think I was able to keep the two of us out of it, but Summers will be in it. That's Larry Summers from Harvard. And Epstein says, "Did not know. Any more color? Can I call you or can you call me? Does the third or fourth work for a visit?" Jeffrey says, "I'm in Tokyo." They're really, they are just thick as thieves. And Epstein says, "A tenants in common structure for Bitcoins is very problematic for the government." Ito, "Oh, how interesting. With multi-signature, you could even formally create such a structure. Technically, quite easily." Epstein, "Yikes." Ito, maybe Madar and I should hold Bitcoin in a tenants in common 1031 structure and see what happens. Basically, you can make a wallet or hold a coin where two people have to sign it for it to move and require unanimous approval of any transactions. Epstein, no, 1031 is only for real estate property. Ito, so not other property? Epstein, nope, that was the change in the tax bill. However, a real estate coin would qualify. A LTV part interest in real estate qualifies. Now you can see why they are loath to put regulations in place that define the boundaries. Why does he speak like an elected official? And this is why I say, folks, I no longer discuss parties, because the United States of America, there are no Republicans and there are no Democrats. And I'm talking about the politicians. There are the blackmailed and there are the bribed. But every single one of them is complicit. I think Sanders, and they haven't gotten to them yet. Sanders is actually in these emails because they couldn't get to him. He's an anomaly. All of these people are disgusting. Look at Chuck Schumer. Look at Cory Booker. Everybody's a puppet. So this is what I say to you. Why is it that this man ran our country? And not just the country, the world. So we're going to go on. Ito says, so if we made a digital contract, a set of tokens backed by real estate, and make it such that each coin is owned by two or more persons, have an undivided fractional interest in the asset, we might be able to call it a tenants in common 1031 exchange. Should we design this and set it up for fun? Epstein, yes. Require disclosure on your tax form, but all 1031s. Exchanging TIC, interest or swapping keys, unknowns. Will CoinCheck let me invest? Smiley face. I can ask. And he's asking because he's a pedophile. And then my favorite, there is no honor among thieves. Epstein, FYI, no Reed. Yes. And that would be Reid Hoffman of the PayPal Mafia.
Becomes fascinated by crypto. Within months, he's emailing saying the Bitcoin idea is brilliant. Why would Jeffrey Epstein love crypto? Well, if your core businesses are money laundering and blackmail, the ability to send money, or something kind of like money, in a way that obscures your identity would be very appealing. It's important to realize that this was extremely early in crypto's history. Bitcoin had only become a thing in 2009, 2 years earlier. So Jeffrey Epstein was a fan of Bitcoin before 99% of the people who are now supporters even knew it existed.
He knew everything before everyone did, because he had a hand in every country. He was mainly Israel's Mossad, and we will get there. But he did some work for the CIA. He, I'm sure, did some work for the UAE. But this guy, with no real interest other than the fact that he is a mover and a shaker. Epstein, he was a mover and a shaker.
This revelation has been hard for some bros to take. So Epstein starts investing in crypto companies like Blockstream and the exchange Coinbase. Brock Pierce facilitated Epstein's investment of $3 million in Coinbase in 2014. And emails show that Coinbase executives knew the money was coming from Epstein, a registered sex offender. In other Epstein emails, there are numerous communications between the pedophile and the head of the MIT Media Lab, Joy Ito. In one email from 2015, Joy thanks Epstein for having secretly funded something called Bitcoin Core Development, which is the group of developers who maintain Bitcoin's operating system. Back in 2015, the crypto industry was stalled. The market was much smaller and there was infighting between various factions. Without funding, Bitcoin could have languished. Jeffrey Epstein swooped in to save the day. Or as Joy Ito put it to Epstein, the pedophile's money allowed us to win this round. But
this is what I mean. They joked about that. But yet, these same people, Reid Hoffman, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, the people that are in China right now, Larry Fink, I think is another, but they're the ones that make the rules. Jeffrey Epstein dealt with the movers and the shakers, the people that could move him forward and move the world forward, because he wasn't just a pedophile. He connected. He put people together with money. He was not, the disgraced financier. He knew how to hustle. He knew how to put here, this person, that person together. And all of a sudden, you just made some money off of China. You just made some money off of England. You just made some money off of this, Prince Andrew.
More. Initially, Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, claimed he met Epstein only once, was repulsed by him, and swore to never be involved with him in any way. But then the emails came out, and what a shocker, that story was bullshit. In fact,
you know, it's funny because I think Lutnick actually testified yesterday, right? They actually got him in a chair. Of course, it was closed session. The Republicans absolutely, and I'm only saying that for that. It doesn't mean they have any power, folks. They vote based on who pays them for whatever reason or that's being blackmailed. Look at the one that just got knocked off, Eric, whoever. This is why our elections have been decided. They've been decided. I guarantee you California's been decided. I guarantee you a lot of other things have been decided. The only power that we truly have is how we react to it and how much we educate ourselves to know where they're coming from, what these people are doing, because then you don't feel quite so desperate, quite so vulnerable. Now, what makes these emails especially significant is that, and they're actually a good portion of their text messages. The emails are on screen, but I have their actual text messages. Good times. Now, it focused on MIT Media Lab's acceptance of Epstein-linked donations. Remember, he stepped down after that came out, and Ito's eventual resignation. But these newly surfaced communications appear to expand that picture far beyond simple fundraising. They show private conversations involving cryptocurrency, elite networking, Saudi connections, surveillance technology, and ongoing communication patterns that many people had never seen laid out in this detail. So let's look at another message. All right, here we go. Blue is Jeffrey. Let's talk today. I have decided that I will no longer invest in any funds. I can provide bridge financing, off-book debt, and other financial assistance. But after a thorough review of the benefits and burdens of a fund investment in any form, in any field, the risk versus reward versus liquidity, people issues, legal, all not worth it, can talk at any time. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's just making him desperate, making him desperate. I can call in 15 minutes. This is Ito. Can we speak about donor-assisted funds later? It far surpasses. In scale, impact fund, anything else, he's just toying with him like a cat. Ito, yes, I'll try to get the stuff we're working on with MacArthur. I bet on their timeline. But let's go down just a little bit. Whereas the fund, the donor funds, this is Ito, is really my responsibility and my main bread and butter. Work that I've built for over 30 years. So I want to keep it going for now. 30 years that man had a career. And this is what he was willing to risk for it. So important for me, winky face, he says. Epstein, all you need to do is have a new division. Or we can do the MIT Donor Advisors Fund, question mark. Ito, I think MIT can do a donor advisor fund. Epstein, I would like to do MacArthur Media Lab Donor Advisors Fund. Gigantic. Epstein says. Ito says, I've been thinking about this a bit more, and I think I need to get a bit more powerful in MIT to make this work well. It'll probably take another year or so of politics, but I'm working on it. Do you see? This is why people stayed quiet. This is why people, if he wasn't getting you kids to rape, he was making you money. And if he wasn't making you money, he was giving you money. Or he was getting you power. People and this world, especially these people, their only commodity is power and money, and they are willing to do anything for it. Take money from a pedophile. Now look at those survivors and remember, as they're joking, do you think Virginia Giuffre would think it was funny? Do you think the farmer sisters would think it is funny? They call these women gold diggers. They call them liars. Trump calls them supposed, victims, even though he's an alleged rapist, pedophile, disgusting human being who shits his pants because he cannot hold it. That's our president. But this is what I mean. They're all good with the most disgusting, repulsive Elon Musk, son of a pedophile. Look it up. His daddy did some bad things. And then he's chasing the other pedophiles island who didn't want him to go, by the way. The pedophile did not want Elon Musk to hang out with him. What does that say? God. And now, let's look at right now. Who's making decisions about our life? Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. Now do you understand why? Because the ruling class, they are not our politicians. They are a shadow government, right? So let's talk a little bit more about this super secret meeting.
Elon Musk, and he, very large donor, one of the largest donors to the Democratic Party. We've got, let's put C6 up on the screen here. So Hoffman funds this MIT Media Lab.
Reid Hoffman, Peter Thiel, PayPal Mafia.
Reporter. She's like a right-wing reporter, but in any case, they hosted a conference called Forbidden Research, and at that conference, they had proposed child-sized sex robots. Yeah. And these emails confirm that they had considered inviting Jeffrey Epstein to this Forbidden Research conference. You see them saying, Reid will be there, presumably Reid Hoffman too. I can drag interesting people over to the house for meetings with you, me, and Reid. And Epstein is inquiring about the date. Dates are then put in there so that, this reporter is able to confirm, okay, yes, this is the conference that I was able to report on. So you've got, that's a bit of a sort of, it's a bit of a more tangential link to Reid Hoffman. But then if we put the next one up on the screen, we've got a bit of a back and forth here between Reid Hoffman and Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein is saying, come to the island, ranch, let's play. Yep. Hoffman says probably not, China visits, etc., possibly next year. And he says, no, when are you back? Will you be in New York for General Assembly, Clinton, etc.? This one, in fairness to Reid, it looks like he is declining the invitation to come to the island or the ranch to quote unquote play. Right. There were other emails in here as well that show other coordinations of various trips, etc., that again demonstrate a level of friendliness and interaction and visits, etc., that are very different from what Reid had previously, how he has tried to present his relationship.
In one of them, they go, Reid will spend the night at 71st Street, of referring to the mansion.
Manhattan mansion,
so,
yeah.
It's bad look. Reid, by the way, has put out a statement. Let's go and put C8, please, up on the screen. Hoffman says, fixed your headline, LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman exonerated by Trump's FBI newly released docs. Release all.
Reid Hoffman. Well, a young disabled girl kept a diary about him and what he did to her at Epstein's ranch. Her bleedy bitter. Allegedly. And now, as we said, Mr. Ito and all of these people try to make it seem like, I didn't know.
New Yorker revealed that MIT's Media Lab was attempting to conceal donations from Epstein. The school had previously said it accepted $800,000 from his foundations over a 20-year period, but according to the magazine, the director of MIT's Media Lab, Joichi Ito, had accepted nearly $2 million from Epstein without properly reporting it. Following the bombshell report, the university's...
And as you can see, based on these emails, he thoroughly planned that out. This was not by accident. He absolutely did this, underreported this, and made it his dirty little secret so that he could get money for his funding, so that he could move forward. These people have no soul.
Following the bombshell report, the university's president announced Ito's resignation and described accepting Epstein's donations as a, quote, mistake of judgment. NBC News spoke to...
They all say that. Bill Gates. Oh, shit. They all say that. Bill Gates said it. All of those people said it, right? That I barely know him. I really knew it was, I feel badly about taking that Howard Lutnick. We met him. I was his neighbor and the guy was a scumbag. He's going to his island, selling the nanny, getting into business with him. Reid Hoffman is allegedly raping girls at the ranch while the things that girl talked about. Just disgusting. Peter Thiel, Joy Ito, and these are all the people in positions of power. And the Saudi angle makes this story feel even larger because it connects the MIT Media Lab world to a global political power, massive sovereign wealth, artificial intelligence, robotics, biotechnology, and futuristic smart society planning. 15-minute cities. Why were these circles already discussing ambient listening technology, data collection, and smart device evidence years before the public understood where any of this was heading? And this is from The Tech, March 25th, 2018. Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, visited MIT Saturday as one of the stops on his first official tour of the U.S. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's visit today in Greater Boston focused on nurturing ties between the private sector and academia of the two nations, according to a press release by the Royal Embassy of Saudi Arabia's Information Office. The Prince's visit was in conjunction with the second annual Innovation to Impact Forum, which was held at the Sandberg Center in E52 Saturday morning as part of an ongoing collaboration. It's before Epstein was arrested. To President Raphael Reeve. Okay. Report and recommendations, preliminary, distributed for MIT community comment. This short report represents the results of a review and reassessment of MIT's relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You requested this review on October 15, 2018, following the assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul 2 weeks earlier. I don't know if you recall, Trump basically said he deserved it, but you know. I am grateful for the thoughtful, careful, sometimes searing, but always civil comments offered by members of the MIT community. Although opinions on this situation and what to do about it varied widely, those who commented were united in wanting the best for MIT. I also sought the advice of external reports on Saudi Arabia and the region. An important source of information and insight was The Tech. That article is March 25th, 2018, folks. And that was in public. So what secret meeting am I talking about? February 11th, 2018. Text messages between Joy Ito and Mr. Epstein. So, MBS is coming to, and that is Mohammed bin Salman is coming to the MIT Media Lab Saturday. Super secret. Are you meeting him in NYC? Epstein here with Bannon. That would be Steve Bannon, scumbag number 4. Ito, and with MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. I told Mohammed bin Salman Media Lab was tomorrow. He had to go. Ito, say hi to Steve. Epstein, Ehud, and that would be Ehud Barak. He was the Prime Minister of Israel. Ito, cool. They say he wants to give Hugh money, the lab he is visiting. How much should we ask for? They asked us. Say hi to Ehud. Just besties on the text. Epstein, 10 minutes. Rafat al-Sabag, my guy. Ito, Roger. Epstein, Mohammed bin Salman likes robotech, biotech, finance tech. Ito, I have 15 minutes with him giving a tour of biometrics lab, so I guess he'll like that. Epstein, let's talk tomorrow as I have a call with Reed Hoffman, PayPal Mafia, Saturday afternoon. Great, Ito says. I might have time around lunchtime. And then, redacted, just tell, don't know who that is. Also, deal with the VC to do a cash carry advisory relationship isn't really going to work out. So I'm going back to the idea about doing the fund more later when we talk. No on Bannon from Reed. Really no honor among thieves, right? No Bannon, no Reed, no Larry, no Summers. What do you think they have to blackmail each other? There is no honor among thieves. And then Epstein, reminder if you can, as we will have a translator, think that you are great friends of Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, great friends of Rafat al-Sabag. I'll bring Bannon up tomorrow to reacquaint you guys. Roger, thanks. Epstein, did he meet? Yes, we didn't get a chance to talk, but he said he wanted to fund the project. Seemed like a nice guy, like the demo. We should something him a guy that was the third person in the world to have a robotic limb attached that was connected neurally so that he could move his ankle. We didn't get the funding docs in order, so we'll follow up. Epstein, silly. Okay, see you tomorrow. I heard that SB might try to get a documentary film crew onto our meeting. I told them no, please. Epstein, no way. Ito, I think I blocked it. was before the first article I wrote you. So now when I say to you that all the world's a stage, do you believe me? Was Epstein a psychic? Was he even really all that special? No, he was just one of the most corrupt motherfuckers you will ever find on this earth. A little bit more on that. Well, I am not an expert, but the person I'm about to put on video is Eric Weinstein. He is an American mathematician, financial executive, media personality. He became widely known for his podcast, The Portal. He earned a PhD in mathematics from Harvard, served as managing director of the Thiel Capital for years, talks about theoretical physics, institutional corruption, scientific stagnation, technology power structures.
You know that the first person outside of me to get a look at geometric unity was Jeffrey Epstein. How did he know I was working on this? I don't know.
So your ideas that formed geometric unity was something that his eyes have seen?
I was pushed to talk to Jeffrey Epstein as one of the only people who could help me. No, listen to this.
How does this connect?
Okay, well, first of all, my old synagogue, my old shul, was the conservative minyan at Harvard Hillel. And
Harvard is Larry Summers. Harvard is also where a lot of the girls ended up getting education. I don't know if much like Columbia they were given in a different way, but Harvard is not what you think of it. And again, all of these power structures that were so comfortable with a pedophile.
After Henry Rosofsky in the economics department, who was a Japan scholar, if I'm correct. And he became provost or dean of Harvard. I believe that was built with Jeffrey Epstein's money. And I wondered, in part, whether the Jewish students at Harvard all sort of passed through a bottleneck of Harvard Hillel. So that was something I found very curious, but I don't know much about it. I also found that Jeffrey Epstein hanging around scientists, I don't think that either. What was Jeffrey Epstein doing hanging around all of these scientists? I don't think that was the same program that was about compromising political leaders and business people and entertainment figures. I think these are two different programs that were being run through one individual. And Joe seemed to think.
Correct. Epstein, like I said, he wasn't just your standard PDF. No. He rose through the ranks the way that he did. I mean, let's be honest here. He survived 4 presidencies, never being caught. Years went through the Obama years, went through the Biden years and the Trump years. And everybody knew, including the Obama administration, including the Biden administration. So like I said, they're all bought and paid for. Everybody was in on this. And if they tell you differently, they're lying. The ones who are hunting it down right now, the ones I will say, the politicians that are Ro Khanna, Thomas Massie, I don't think they're blackmailed. I think they genuinely want to know. Because I think they would like to not have so many colleagues that are blackmailed or bribed.
My close friends didn't really know what I was up to.
And yet you're saying he did not have sufficient brilliance to understand when the rubber hit the road. So why did he have sufficient interest and curiosity?
I'll tell you what I thought. I've been waiting to find out, does my government even know I exist?
Do you have an answer to that question?
I have, a couple times, the government has reached out to me. In general, there is zero interest in me. Like less than zero interest. I find that fascinating.
As far as you know, right?
But yet, Jeffrey Epstein was really interested in this man. And he did actually meet Jeffrey Epstein one time. And he said that he was one of the few people that didn't jump on that train, right? He sort of realized what came along with that. I don't know if he's a moral man. I don't know if he's a man of integrity. But he saw a wolf in sheep's clothing.
I mean,
well, that's what I'm trying to say. The question about not being able to see through a half-silvered mirror, you don't know what's going on behind the half-silvered mirror. To you, it's all you see is your reflection.
Of stories and narratives through the story.
Luckily, I only met him once. And I think I had 1 or perhaps 2 phone conversations with him other than the one meeting.
You can learn a lot in just a few words, right, from a human being.
Well, that's true, but I think that the bigger issue was I saw something that I don't hear much remarked upon, which is Jeffrey Epstein is all that there is. In other words, there's the National Science Foundation, National Institute of Health, Howard Hughes. There's all this stuff that kind of has the same feel to it, a little bit of variation and difference. Department of Energy. If you fall outside of that, there's just Jeffrey Epstein. That's what you're told.
Yes.
That's not quite true. There's Kavli, maybe Jim Simon.
What he's saying is that he was the guy with the money, and that these scientists weren't willing to do their, what is it that they do for their grants, and they put together these things to find funding. Now, they took the easy way out. They took the pedophile. Because not only was he willing to bankroll you, he was willing to allow you to do some mad scientist demonic shit. Let's not forget, this is the man that was into eugenics and formulating babies and just a source of evil. And so, regardless of their participation, and let's just say for sake of argument, they took his money. Does that make him any better than the men that raped those children? I don't think so. I don't think it makes him any better at all. All right, if you've made it this far, drop a black heart. Like I said, this one's going to be a long one. All right, now we are at the emails that disturb me in a way I just can't communicate. So there's a 2016 email exchange involving Joy Ito and Jeffrey Epstein. And it's discussing an Amazon Echo. And I know that sounds inane. How many of us have an Alexa? How many of us have things in our house programmed? Before we go any further, I am not suicidal. As always, I am a witness and a law school student. I am not a journalist. All of this is my opinion. Everything discussed in this video is my opinion, my observations, my correlations, and it's based on publicly available reporting, interviews, and the leaked files themselves. If you enjoy deep dive investigations, please subscribe, leave a comment, because now it's about to go down. All right. December 30th, 2016. Subject: police seek Amazon Echo data in murder case. Underneath, just the beginning. That's what Jeffrey Epstein wrote. And then underneath, he put these links, along with this little note here that said, please note. Found those links. We're going to go look at them.
Your smart home devices can be pretty cool and helpful, but now there's a question of whether they could be used in a crime investigation. A man was found dead in a hot tub in Bentonville, Arkansas last year. Police say the property owner murdered him. Now authorities want Amazon to fork over the data from the suspect's Amazon Echo to see if it recorded any evidence. Amazon's Echo responds to voice commands and is always listening for its wake word, or the command to tell it to start paying attention to instructions. The device records the commands, and that information is stored in servers. So the police probably aren't going to find audio recordings of a fight or murder, but they could see if the Echo answered any.
Know anything for certain, right? But why was he interested in the Amazon Echo story specifically to send to Joy Ito? Right? I mean, he sent it to him about police seeking Amazon Echo. Now, Epstein was heavily interested in science, technology, AI, data systems, and futuristic conversation. He networked extensively with tech elites and academic figures. The Echo case represented an early example of consumer devices becoming surveillance data evidence tools. Think we haven't seen any videos from the Epstein case. And his just the beginning response, I mean, that suggests that he viewed this site as the start of a much larger societal shift involving connected technology and data collection. Now, was he, researching this for criminal purposes? Who knows? Was he building surveillance systems himself? Did some work with Peter Thiel? Who knows? It doesn't prove anything. but it does, right? I mean, nothing concretely. But all the men that are left in charge of our world right now are connected to the pedophile. And now we're talking about mass surveillance with Palantir. Palantir backed by the CIA. Now they say that the CIA is their client, but come on. Oracle started by Larry Ellison and the CIA. They own all our data. Palantir, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Epstein invested $40 million in Thiel in one of his other projects, right? He did Palantir, which, as they say, found useful idiots out of the Palestinians, right? The reason they've given us all this information, and again, this is all just my opinion, it's because they want to see what we'll do. And honestly, I think that the billionaires are a little scared. I mean, lately I've noticed, I believe that Mayor Mondani pointed out where one of them lived in New York, and they flipped out. They are realizing that their little plan is not popular with the people. And as we've learned from those emails with Epstein, they don't like us. They want to get rid of us, right? We are kind of, messing up their little perfect world. They want us in 15-minute cities with universal basic income. They also don't want us complaining. That 22-point manifesto from Palantir, which essentially said, we really need to stop this, like looking at people's behavior, and we don't need to pay taxes. And do you understand, and this is what I've always been trying to sell you, America doesn't have democracy. No, we've been a technocracy for quite some time. We've been run by a shadow government for quite some time. We are a slave nation. When Bibi Netanyahu got on 60 Minutes, owned by Larry Ellison, by the way, and his son David Ellison, they also own TikTok. Big fans of Israel. Now, he got up on 60 Minutes and said that they will no longer be taking all of the billions of dollars that America gives to them. And Israel has free health care. They have all sorts of things that we don't. Now, I don't believe a word out of that man's mouth, nor should any of you. But I think he honestly just said that to piss us off. He knows that Americans are struggling right now. People can't pay their bills. People can't afford to eat. But yet we've got the billionaire class who are flying around the world. They're going to China. They're at Mar-a-Lago. Much like Elon Musk, they're creating Doge and telling us that our Social Security is an entitlement. And these are the men that live off of corporate bonuses, don't pay taxes, and were born into the life that they have. None of it was hard work. All of it was placement. And that's what this world is. And the more Americans understand that this country isn't really ours, and that in order to take it back, one, it's going to be bloody, and two, we would have to eradicate the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Vatican, the CIA, all of it. They're who run this country. They have taken and taken from the American public. Why do you think people can't afford anything? Why do you think they're crashing the petrodollar? They're done with this country. They've taken all they can. And now they just need us to be quiet. They poison our food. They poison the air. They rape and kill our children. They ensure that the poor stay poor. They ensure that the rich stay rich. They ensure that only their rules are followed. Rockefeller changed medical, right? Before Rockefeller, there was homeopathic medicine. After Rockefeller, suddenly we had a lot of pharmaceutical companies. And back when all of the billionaires made their money off of legal drugs, cocaine, opium, because make no mistake, they all made their scribble off of that. Then they legalized it. Then they created the pharmaceutical companies. These men are drug dealers. They are the mafia. But somehow they convinced the American public that it's the immigrants and the woke people that have ruined their lives. Yes, because it's woke people and immigrants who have all the power in this country, right? They have all the power. America, the really sad thing is, we've been so propagandized and we've allowed this to happen. Some of you are waking up, much like I did. And now, yeah, it's terrifying to realize that our entire country was built on a lie. That men like Jeffrey Epstein are the men that rule the world. And they're now blatantly telling us. We've got several viruses cruising around the world. Bill Gates is trying to murder us every other day. He's on trial in Europe right now. God only knows what the hell they put in our arm. This is not about elections, and if you think we can vote our way out of this, I'm sorry to tell you, but we cannot. I'm going to end with the words of Eric Weinstein. When he met that man, and two, he was given an invitation. He turned it down because he understood what was going to come with it. But he gives a much better explanation as to how all of this came to be and why we're sitting here right now.
A double conspiracy story, which launched multiple conspiracies. I think that the problem with modern Americans is that they are so timid that they don't even learn about the history of conspiracies that we have absolutely proven. So, with that done, Jeff Epstein, in my opinion, represented somebody's construction. I don't
Kind of
think
scary to think about.
Yeah. Well, what part of the story isn't scary? I, in part, did something which I imagine may get me destroyed because I was more worried about being destroyed by somebody else I had a conversation with around Jeff Epstein. Right? So I'm just trying to let it be known that I don't know anything more than I've already said. Now, your friends at MIT, their problem is that Jeff Epstein showed up as the only person capable of continuing U.S. scientific tradition. You see, the U.S. scientific tradition is a little bit like the Russian. It's combative. And we're a free society and we act like a free society. We're a rich society and we research like we're a rich society. That is historically. And then came the 1970s. And William Proxmire and the Golden Fleece Awards and the idea that we're paying too much and these are welfare queens in lab coats and blah, 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 blah. We need more transparency, more oversight.
You hear that? Calling the scientists welfare queens. Isn't it interesting how our politicians have made everybody a welfare queen but them? Corporations are the biggest welfare queens. They get the biggest tax rates. They get the biggest subsidies. They keep all of their money and have all of it because they want to ensure that no one can ever take it. And again, it's because our politicians are not in charge, folks. The shadow government is. Or why else are all of those men in China right now with Trump? Explain that to me.
Everything went to hell. And the national culture of U.S. science was lost. The thing that produced all this prosperity and security and power was lost. And then Jeff Epstein shows up. And a tiny number of funders, maybe Fred Kavli, maybe Yuri Milner, maybe who else would be in this category? Peter Thiel to an extent. Howard Hughes would be the largest of these things, which has different grant structures than the NIH, gave people a modicum of risk-taking ability. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, when Jeff Epstein showed up, everybody wanted to take risk in science. And suddenly a charismatic billionaire says, hey, I can make that work for you. Here's $100,000. Go research something crazy. Mm-hmm. Well, that money was supposed to be provided.
Well, folks, there you have it. So when money shows up and it offers you everything that you need, what are you willing to look away at? And I hope that this shows you that, number one, all of these men are lying. They absolutely knew what he was doing and they had no problem taking their money. And also realize that they have less of an issue of actually critiquing a man who raped and ate children than of people like you and I who just want healthcare, would like to not have our education bankrupt us due to loans, maybe like to buy a house one day. They've stripped us of all of that. They've stripped us of our dignity. They step over our corpses in their warehouses when we die, and we tell their colleagues to go back to work. They pee in bottles so that they can bring our packages to us faster, because in America, we've grown so used to being the billionaires' fucking bitches and slaves that this is where we are. The time has come, my friends, for a change. And the question is, what will America do to get there? I hope you all enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all again.